Make sure you don't miss a thing. Go to starzology.com/newsletter and sign up. Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hello, Alison. It's great to be here again.
So nice to have you once more. So this time we're going to be working on one of the other houses. We're going to be doing the 7th house.
Yeah.
We've been doing quite a few houses recently, and I don't know why we're not doing them in order, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, we're just doing them in the fun order.
In the fun order, exactly. Yeah. So this time we're going to be talking about the 7th house in your chart. So for the beginners out there, every birth chart will have 12 houses, and every chart will have a 7th house, and this is the one we're talking about today.
Yeah. So
I've got a few core themes that we could talk about regarding the 7th house, and we can just work through them. There's about, 6 or 7 themes here that we can just discuss and show what the 7th house is representing.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, it is the house regarding your marriage and committed partnerships.
Yeah.
So this is when you get married, your marriage is shown there, your first marriage particularly, and your common law marriage, if you go there, and also any committed partnerships.
Business partnerships.
We'll come into that, yeah. But any committed partnerships of a relationship nature where it's all working together. You don't necessarily have to be married to be in this place, but it's not for dating and romance. That's 5th house.
Yes.
So 7th house are those committed ones where you move in together, you become exclusive.
Share resources.
You share your resources. I'm not sure what the law is on common law marriages. Is it 7 years together and then it's
I think it's way less in Canada.
Is it?
Like literally a year or something ridiculous like that.
Really? And then you've got your rights as a common law. Well, this is why people don't get married anymore.
Right.
The nature of your marriages will show if you've got whatever the sign is on the cusp of the 7th house is going to influence these marriages and anything else we're going to talk about in a moment. But if you've got planets in the 7th house, in their order from the cusp will show the type of marriages you're likely to have or the type of committed relationships you're likely to have.
Yeah.
And the type of person you're likely to have these relationships with.
Yeah.
So interesting that.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you've got an empty 7th house, it doesn't mean you won't get married. Yeah. I personally have an empty 7th house, and I was married for 35 years. So, it does happen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't the most important thing in my life. It was, but I spent my energy elsewhere too. It just was. It just worked. Yeah. So, do you have planets in the...
I do. I have one. I have Mars.
Okay. And would you say that this represents the type of person that you have been committed to in the past?
I would say, yeah. I would say definitely. I like an active...
vigorous, red-blooded man.
Yeah, and not like a serious businessman kind of guy, like an active guy.
Right.
Like a cool, fun, active guy who likes to do things, not necessarily sports, but often sports. I think most of the guys I've been with have been in some kind of sport or used to be.
Fit.
Fit and active and outgoing, which is great because it balances my introversion.
Interesting.
And I think also there's a level of kind of good-natured argument that comes with having...
Right, a bit of competition.
Yeah, I mean, and also spurring you to action. I really...
okay.
I have Mars in Taurus, which is yikes, I need to actually have someone tell me, let's do this. We're doing this.
A firework around you somewhere.
100%. Yeah, so me having Mars in the 7th house is really just like I'm outsourcing that drive often to someone else. We'll say, let's do this. We're doing this. Come on, let's go. Let's do it. Yeah, I really like that. And also I don't mind a good, bicker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen you in action.
I know.
And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. My mother hates it too. But yeah, it's always good natured. I think of it like kittens when they play fight and they just they're seeming to just kick the hell out of each other and bite each other, but it's all in good fun.
Well, there you go. And that's right there. That's Mars in the 7th house talking.
It's never bad natured. It's never like, you always do this. It's just like.
And does he have anything in the 7th house, interestingly?
No.
Okay, so there you go. Right there. Yeah. So another theme related to the 7th house is business partnerships.
Yeah.
So business partnerships are exactly what they say, going into business together to do something. And I consider you and I to have a business partnership. And when I think about what you just said, then I must be represented by this Mars as well.
Well, I love that actually. No, because I know it's hilarious. I know I've said this in the past, and I almost said it as a joke a long time ago that I would love to just be like the second in command in like in some sort of enterprise. And
this Virgo talking now.
Yeah, like just tell me what to do and I'll do it perfectly. Yes. And as long as I appreciate the moral compass of the enterprise and whatever that is, whatever we're doing, I will absolutely 100% support whatever that is. I don't want to be the one that has the idea. I'm generally not the one who has the idea, but if someone has an idea, I will absolutely 100% be like the best supporter of that.
And absolutely a good lieutenant. Yes.
A good lieutenant. A great lieutenant. Yeah.
And as business partnership goes, I'm thinking about what we're talking about here is that this particular slew of podcasts that we're doing has gone differently than the ones we did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because 10 years ago, you were leading the charge.
Right. It was in my apartment. And
you were doing the recording and you were managing the editing and I was coming in and giving all my opinion, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm getting frustrated thinking, why isn't she getting off her ass and doing something with this stuff or whatever?
Yeah.
But anyway, we kept going.
Yeah.
But this time...
Yeah, much better. Much better.
We're in the right place, right? Yeah, I'm saying, 100%. Okay, let's do this. This is what we'll do. And you are the brilliant lieutenant now, honestly.
And I'll bring the research and I'll bring the
and you pitch up.
100%. Yeah, and I'll be on time.
You don't leave me hanging and cancel at the last minute. And
like one or two times I've been like, oh my God, I got something wrong or whatever. And you're like, well, okay, we'll deal with it. But I'm a Virgo, so it's rare.
But this business partnership, although we don't have a written paperwork, we do have this business shop partnership, which is automatically going on. We're pushing 2 years with this now. It's just working.
Yeah.
I mean,
150 episodes.
And beyond. And beyond. I have my moments, but we all do. I mean, it's but it's working and we're getting things done. And I think, well, I don't even have to think, is she going to pitch up? Is she going to let me down? Because you never, ever do.
Yeah. I remember one time I was like coming back from I had gone to some suburban like water park with a friend of mine and we didn't even have any clue that the traffic was there. I think there might have been an accident on the highway. And I'm like calling you like, like desperately, like going, I think I'm going to be late. Can we change the time? Blah, blah, blah. And that was the only time I've ever, I think, said
you do.
Like at the last minute. And I think
an absolute perfect lieutenant.
I was still on time. I think regardless of that, even I was like, I'm maybe half an hour late we started or an hour.
Really, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but in 2 years.
But when we talk about it, then that Mars in your 7th house has to be me as this business partnership. Mm-hmm. You see, I don't know, and not that I'm fit, but I yes, we're doing this and that, and I know what we want to do.
Bossy. I love it.
Well,
I do. I love it. I love it.
And I know sometimes when I text you because I want to have some idea about something or other, and I'm not very good with, oh, hello, how are you? Blah, blah, fish and paste. I just get to it. Oh, and by the way, we're doing this, or don't forget that, or where's the chart for this person?
Is amazing. I love that.
So
it's funny. They say like that women are. They say it's in business that women should, take the draft email that you think you want to send, and then take out all of the fluff, take out all of the,
the bunnies.
For God's sake, any apologies. Don't use exclamation points unless you're actually.
Stop apologizing.
Genuinely excited about something. Yeah, and they're just taking all that fluff, like please and thank you, and little, if you have time, blah blah blah, and then just say this thing, cut it down to like the shortest possible. And I struggle to do that even in my actual corporate job, but it's the goal.
And it's so fun. That is so funny that's popped up there under the business partnership, because I don't have anything in my 7th house. So I never thought I would really have business partnerships, but I have over the years with you and a couple of other people, and we all have our role. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
totally.
So another theme for the 7th house is legal contracts and agreements. Mm-hmm. So every time you make a contract, such as a marriage contract or even a divorce contract or any other kind of contract, when you're signing a contract, it's a 7th house event.
Yeah.
And this is where they say, don't they, read the small print. I don't know. Do you read the small print? Maybe you do.
I mean, it depends on what it is. Yes, I do. I also try, maybe this is something about Taurus on the ascendant, like on the descendant. I try to avoid getting into anything where I think I might be tricked. There's a stubbornness and a insulated sort of that.
I avoid contracts. Yes,
100%. Yeah, and I will also outsource that to my partner. We have a wonderful accountant now. I'm very, very happy with it. But this accountant came through his contacts.
Yes.
It was someone he met who recommended this woman. And it just happened that a couple of years ago, I had to incorporate in order to get this contract that I blah, blah, blah. And it was great that I did that. But I was like, I don't know how to be a corporation. Like, what is that even?
Yes.
And he was like, don't worry, we'll just do it. You need to do this. When you see the tax implications, you will thank me. And I was like, okay, you're my CFO now, right? And yeah, sure enough, like we'll even joke about that.
And even he is represented by that Mars, you see.
Definitely, yeah.
Someone who can just say, this is it, that's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah.
Totally,
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to be responsible, but I don't have a confidence.
You've got your man, you've got your guy.
Yeah.
And then you're good because that's that Mars representation.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I can't recall the last contract I ever signed, which is, who knows what that was.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not in that kind of business. I don't lease cars or even rent places. I didn't even sign this lease. But I mean...
And most of my jobs are contracts, so there's always signing something.
And that's the Mars working every time for you see. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm. The next one is, next theme for the 7th house is law and justice, which, if you have a lawyer, it will be that Mars again, or anyone. I don't suppose you do. I don't really have one.
I had a personal injury lawyer once when I had a car accident 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, so again, I don't really have legal matters. People are not suing us left, right, and centre. Yeah. But if you have multiple planets there, you're more likely to have this, you see. Yeah. And then how about this one? Open enemies and adversaries. Yeah. Now, this is a good one because open enemies are people who you know are against you. And that's why divorce is here. That you know your husband. Yeah. Well, I'm saying that because we're both women. And if you're going to get divorced from him, he knows your weak spots. Right. He's your enemy, and he's going to know what to tell his lawyer, how to screw you over.
Right, exactly. Because if you see something versus something in a document, that is the open enemy. Even if you are trying to do it as non-acrimoniously as possible. What's the opposite of acrimonious?
I don't know.
It's friendly.
Yeah.
The friendly divorce.
Yeah. But you know who is against you. And it wouldn't just be someone who you're divorcing, but that generally is the case. But anyone who's having an argument with you, who you know them face to face, they're your open enemies. They're shown by that 7th house. Whereas your closed enemies, I suppose, is 12th house. You don't know who's against you, and they're working behind the scenes against you. Yeah. So here you can see who it is who's trying to get you off the PTA committee or whatever the deal is, and you know who it is.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know if we all have open enemies. I don't believe I do. I don't suppose you do either. But if you are someone who's constantly having to deal with these issues.
No, but it's interesting because just thinking about the people I've clashed with in the past, and there is a temptation as a woman in business or whatever to sort of flex and to try to sort of, assert yourself in some way, or not a temptation, but a necessity. And I mean, you have to. And if you don't, you are either, you're not proactive enough. You're not speaking up enough. You're not standing up for yourself. You're not,
leaning in. Yeah.
Leaning in. Oh God, exactly. And so the leaning in, I think that can really take on that sort of flavor of either on the cusp where you're leaning in. And in my case, I've got Taurus on the 7th house cusp. So leaning in would definitely take a more ingratiating, wanting people to like me, blah, 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 that thing. But then there's that Mars, right? Yeah. It's very kind of, how does that work? And I think it comes across in different ways as you get older. But maybe when you're younger, if you do have Mars in the 7th house, maybe you find yourself picking fights with people at work.
Or competing for something.
Or competing. And you get older and you realize where that's necessary and where it's not, and where it is, where you're actually standing up for yourself, and where maybe you are where you're the troublemaker at work, where like people are like, oh God, that, whatever, that's Susan, or you
got to pick your battles.
For sure. Yeah. But maybe there's something in that 7th house where the open enemies thing, and that takes on the flavor of whatever you have going on in the 7th house and who you think is out to get you. And and maybe you're the one who is the problem.
Well, yes.
You find that you always have an open enemy at work.
Yes.
Not everyone has that. No. And not everyone should have that. There's a lot of workplaces that are toxic, and there are a lot of workplaces that are not.
I've been in them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it really... you really have to, you can only change yourself, obviously, in the long run. And this is why we do this, you and I, why we study astrology, why we are so interested in personalities, because you can only ever change your own approach to life. Your reaction to what's going on. Exactly. And you're not always going to know the chart of the people you're dealing with, especially at work with your friends and family. That's of course, true. But you're not going to know your boss's chart or that dick who's always bugging you in the meetings and, why is cutting he always you off. Exactly. And you think, oh, this is my nemesis. And, maybe all you can do is look at your own reactions. Interesting. Yeah. So some other thoughts are on public relations, because it's the first public house above the horizon. Right. So the general public is in the 7th house, and this would include things like your clients who happen to be people you're doing business with. You don't know them, but they, and it's your public relations with them. Because Venus tends to rule the natural house. So are you good at schmoozing? Are you good at doing these things? And that would be, if you've got more planets there, you'll be good at it. And if less, you probably don't even come across it. Mm-hmm. How are your public relations? What is do you care? No planets there. I don't really care, but, I'm going to throw another example from personal life. My mother has both the Sun and Venus in her 7th house. Oh. Yeah. So how's her public relations? Well, she's got the Sun actually conjunct her descendant. Mm-hmm. So that's as close as you can get. She's got Gemini rising. She's got Sagittarius on the descendant. Yeah. And her Sun is literally conjunct the descendant. Right. So she's very much about partnerships. She has always been in a partnership. She's almost never been single that I've known her. And she's had a couple of very, very, influential and important relationships. My dad, obviously, one of them. And she's been with her current husband for actually longer than I've been with my partner, which is 26 years. So I think that they've been together almost 30 years now, which is incredible. So partnership is incredibly important to her. It's part of her identity, which is that Sun on the cusp of the 7th house. But then there's also Venus in the 7th house, and they're all in Sagittarius, which is fascinating because that's a very independent, fiery kind of I'll just, lead the charge and you follow me kind of thing. Yes. So it's lead the charge, but you better follow me, know, because it's part of the identity, there's not, it's not a singleton sort of vibe there. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. Her mother, my grandmother, used to be an incredibly introverted single mother when she was raising my mother. And one of the things that she used to tell me, one of these little stories that you kind of hear at your grandmother's knee, was about how social and outgoing and charming and lovely my mother was as a little girl. Mm-hmm. And my grandmother used to say that she would just send her down the beach, because they lived in California and in Hawaii when my mother was a little child. And my grandmother would just, quote unquote, send her down the beach to make friends and bring people back, which is hilarious. And that is perfectly represented, I think, by the Sun and Venus in the 7th house. Yeah. And even the last time I saw her, which was last year sometime, even though she wasn't with her official partner, she had a partner with her when she was here. She brought a very dear friend. Yeah. Yes. So she goes round in a coupledom regardless, right? Mm, interesting. Yeah. Her husband was watching their menagerie of pets. Oh. Yeah. And they're keeping their garden. So yeah. So that's kind of interesting as well. You do have planets there. You're more likely to want to be concerned about working well with people. Yeah. And so on. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And then the final thoughts I have on the 7th house's themes is projection and shadow work. Ooh. So because it's opposite the 1st house, which is you, and it's to do, and the opposition is to do with projection, you stand in your 1st house and say, well, it's not my fault. It's because of you that my life's not working out. And you project your angst and stuff onto these people, particularly if you've got planets in the 7th house. Right. Or maybe people whose sign is on the opposite of your rising sign. That's fascinating. Yeah. So you can project your Mars onto whom whatever it is, when things, when the back's against the wall. It's this shadow work too, where it's revealing, with the projection you put out, reveals what you feel you're lacking. And of course, you probably aren't. But we all feel this way, that we're not. Well, we all lack something. Yeah. So these projections will come across that way. And, the more stuff you have in the 7th house, the more likely you are to say, it's not my fault, the government, blah, blah. Mm. It's not my fault, I didn't get tennis lessons as a kid. Mm. It's not my fault, he did this. Yeah, or, Yeah.
So if you find yourself saying these, it's not my fault, it's them, that's projection.
Yeah.
And that's where you're throwing it out to the seventh house, saying it's those people, the great unwashed, it's all their fault, it's not my fault.
So would you say that there's something about the character of the sign on the seventh house cusp where maybe people who exemplify that sign, you tend to kind of, whatever is represented by that sign that's opposite your ascendant, maybe that's the sign you vilify the most, or that's the type of person where you
blame Canada. Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's why too, if you have, say you've got your chart, say your partner is opposite you, it actually works as a partnership because they've got what you don't have.
Yes, the you complete me.
The X chromosome or whatever it is, right? And you've got that too. So you're saying, yes, I admire you because you got this and that. Right. But at the same time, because you got that, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
It's not my fault I'm not 6'2" and, whatever. So that's an interesting thing there. And the more planets you have in the seventh house, the more likely you are to do that.
For sure. So you have nothing in the seventh house, but you obviously have something on the seventh house cusp.
Yeah, Aquarius, yeah.
Aquarius.
And my husband's ascendant was we were exactly opposite. So he was the exact opposite. And when I saw that chart, I was like, it's...
Wow.
Yeah, and he was just what I was looking for. Yeah. And but it didn't make him perfect. I still had something to bitch about often about, well, if you weren't so X, Y, Z, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah.
And
nor would I have ever been attracted to you. But that's
exactly. and if you didn't have to go blah, blah, we wouldn't have come to Canada and blah, blah, blah. And he would,
Yeah, totally.
And of course, he got the same thing. He was saying to me, well, but you've got that, it's what you're looking for. It's the you complete me. I think that's,
Yeah, 100%.
So they do say that the actual degree on the descendant is what you're actually looking for in your partner.
Yeah.
It's the person who's going to match you to make us together. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I love that.
So you've got 2 degrees Taurus there. You see Mars is right there. So say no more,
I do like a good cook and someone who's great with their hands.
Yeah, well, there you go. And we'll fight for you and fight and protect you.
And understands the feminine principle. Even though I am attracted to men, I do like a guy who has worn eyeliner and knows a bit about fashion.
There you go. Yeah. Well, say no more. So I'm just going to share with you some of my thoughts about each of the planets going through the seventh house. I'll just read this.
That sounds great.
So with the sun in the seventh house, you shine most brightly through your partnerships and one-to-one relationships. Your identity is closely tied to being a partner, and you naturally vitalize and energize your significant others. You seek recognition through your partnerships and may be drawn to prominent or notable partners who enhance your visibility. Leadership within partnerships comes naturally to you, though you must be careful not to overshadow your partners with that sun, and you find your purpose through the balance of self and other.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one, that sun in the seventh, because, And then with the moon in the seventh house, your emotional needs are fulfilled through partnerships, and you nurture your relationships with intuitive understanding. Your emotional sensitivity to your partner's needs and moods creating deep bonds through emotional support. Creates deep bonds. You particularly benefit from partnerships with women or with partners who embody nurturing qualities. Security needs are often met through committed relationships, and your partnerships tend to have a family-like quality. Your relationships fluctuate with your emotional cycles, requiring partners who understand your changing needs. How's that for being subtle?
Right.
So Mercury in the seventh house. Communication is central to your relationships, and you process your experiences through discussions with your partners. You're attracted to intellectually stimulating partners and thrive on conversations within relationships. Legal matters and contracts may feature prominently in your life, requiring clear communication. You may serve as a mediator or messenger between opposing parties, as you naturally understand multiple perspectives. Partnership decisions are made rationally and discussed thoroughly before commitment.
Yeah.
Imagine. Right? So Venus in the 7th, I think this was your mom who said, right? Relationships and partnerships are sources of pleasure and harmony in your life. You marry for love rather than convenience or social status, and you value beauty and balance in your relationships. You're naturally diplomatic in partnerships and public relations, seeking win-win solutions. Artistic collaborations may feature prominently in your life, and you attract partners easily with your charm and seek partnerships that enhance aesthetic enjoyment and comfort.
Yeah.
Your relationships tend to be graceful and harmonious, though you must be careful not to avoid necessary conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She does not like conflict.
No.
That is true.
And then Mars in the 7th house, Arwynne.
Hello.
You bring energy and initiative to your partnerships, actively pursuing potential partners rather than waiting passively. Relationships may involve healthy competition or passionate debates.
Yeah.
Conflicts arise readily in partnerships as you assert your will, but these can lead to growth if managed constructively. You defend your partners fiercely and fight for relationship justice. Legal battles may feature in your life experience as you're willing to stand your ground. Partnerships energize rather than drain you, and passive partners may frustrate your need for engagement.
Never had a passive partner, so yeah.
There you go. It's so interesting that, right? You don't have a yes man in your life, do you? Yes, Arwynne. Yes, Arwynne. No. All right, let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter in the 7th. You experience expansion, growth, and good fortune through your partnerships. Your marriages and business partnerships tend to be beneficial and may bring social or financial advantages. You're generous with partners and expect the same in return. International connections or cross-cultural relationships may feature prominently in your life. You see the best in potential partners and may idealize them initially. Your optimistic approach to relationships help you weather difficulties, though you may need to temper expectations with realism. Saturn in the 7th. You approach partnerships with seriousness, responsibility, and commitment. Marriage may come later in life after careful consideration, but tends to be enduring once established. You may experience restrictions or limitations through partnerships, also valuable life lessons. Business partnerships require clear boundaries and defined expectations to succeed. You're cautious about legal commitments and carefully review all contracts. With maturity, you develop the capacity for deeply committed, lasting relationships built on mutual respect and shared goals.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice. Uranus in the 7th. You seek freedom, independence, and unconventional arrangements within your partnerships. Traditional marriage structures may feel restrictive, leading you to create alternative relationship models.
Ooh.
Partners may be unusual, progressive, or from different backgrounds than expected. Relationships may begin or end suddenly, bringing unexpected changes to your life. You value intellectual stimulation and friendship within romantic partnerships. Innovation in business partnerships allows you to express your unique approach to collaboration while maintaining necessary independence. And then Neptune in the 7th house. Your partnerships have a dreamy, idealistic quality that can be both inspiring and challenging. You may idealize partners initially and experience disillusionment as reality emerges. Boundaries in relationships tend to be fluid, requiring conscious effort to maintain healthy separation. Partners may drift in and out of your life, or relationships may evolve in ways that defy conventional definitions. You are attracted to spiritual or artistic partners and may form soul connections that transcend ordinary relationship categories. Partnership dissolution may happen gradually rather than through clear endings as you drift apart.
Right. Yeah.
And then Pluto in the 7th. Your partnerships involve profound transformation, power dynamics, and deep psychological connection. You commit intensely to partners, creating bonds that are difficult to break even when necessary. Relationship experience may involve psychological depth and rebirth as you evolve through your partnerships. You may attract partners who catalyze profound change in your life or who challenge you to confront your shadows. Power struggles in relationships provide opportunities for growth if approached consciously. Business partnerships involve high stakes and may completely transform your professional identity.
Yeah.
So that's quite a powerful one.
For sure.
And then finally, Chiron in the 7th, your partnerships activate both wounding and healing potentials in your life. You may be drawn to partners who need healing and who help you heal your own relationship wounds. There's often a teacher-student dynamic in your significant relationships, though roles may alternate. You have natural insight into relationship dynamics and may guide others through partnership challenges. Past relationship pain becomes the source of your greatest relationship wisdom over time. The healing journey through partnerships is central to your life purpose. So those are some of my thoughts about planets in the 7th house. If you've got multiple planets, 2 or 3, you're going to have a more complex relationship with Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yeah.
And each of those planets is likely to represent one of the people who you...
Significant relationships in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or if you've just got the one planet, it's going to be, you go for the same type of guy. Is he your type? It's that sort of thing too. Yeah. Okay, Arwynne, so we've been chatting about the 7th house. We've spoken about some of the main themes in the 7th house, and we've spoken about the sign on the cusp of the 7th house and its influence. And we've also spoken about planets in the natal 7th house.
Yeah.
What we didn't mention really was that if you've got transits going through your 7th house, new relationships are likely to develop in the nature of those planets.
Yeah, revolutions in your thoughts about relationships, and your partnerships, and the slow-moving planets will be...
Do you have any planets going through your 2nd house at the moment? Or we don't know.
7th house, Taurus.
Just Uranus at the tail end there. Yeah. I know next year I've got Pluto going through my 7th house, so watch this space. Yeah. That's all I can say.
For sure.
So if you've enjoyed this episode, please do consider sharing it with anybody who would be interested. Make sure that you're getting our newsletter, and you can sign up at starzology.com/newsletter. And certainly make sure that you are following Arwynne, and you can find Arwynne at...
I'm at mspink.net. That's MSPINK. And I am blogging every Saturday. I will send out a newsletter every Saturday. You can subscribe to it. And I'm talking about art and books and whatever interests me, and some goddesses and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Arwynne, thank you so much for joining me again for this episode. It's been actually quite an interesting one, isn't it? I don't know what took us so long to get to the 7th house.
Right? Yeah, that's a good one.
So thank you so much to all our listeners, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the 2 main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer, or someone who's learning astrology, or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.